Have you ever tried to change your life only to fall back into old patterns? You set big, ambitious goals, but after a few weeks, the initial motivation fades, and you're right back where you started. It's a frustrating cycle. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is your approach? This is the central idea behind James Clear's groundbreaking book, Atomic Habits. It's not about massive revolutionary changes. It's about the power of tiny, almost invisible improvements. Imagine you get just 1% better each day. It doesn't sound like much, does it? A single 1% improvement is barely noticeable. But what happens over a year? That 1% compounds. After a year, you'll be nearly 37 times better than when you started. Now, think about the opposite. If you get 1% worse each day, the decline is just as dramatic. Your habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make it your enemy. We often convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action. We look for that one big break, that single defining moment. But the truth is, the quality of our lives often depends on the quality of our habits. What we repeatedly do, the small choices we make every day, ultimately shapes who we become. It's the difference between reaching our potential and falling short. So, how do we build these powerful habits? To understand this, we need to understand the four-step pattern that every habit follows. Cue, craving, response, and reward. This is the habit loop, the fundamental framework behind all human behavior. Let's break it down. First, there's the cue. This is the trigger that tells your brain to initiate a behavior. It could be a time of day, a location, a preceding event, or an emotional state. Your phone buzzing in your pocket is a cue. Walking into your kitchen is a cue. Feeling stressed is a cue. Next comes the craving. The craving isn't for the habit itself, but for the change in state it delivers. You don't crave smoking a cigarette. You crave the feeling of relief it provides. You don't crave turning on the television. You crave the entertainment and distraction it offers. The cue triggers a craving for a particular reward. It's the motivational force behind every habit. The third step is the response. This is the actual habit you perform, whether it's a thought or an action. The response is the act of checking your phone, grabbing a snack, or going for a run. Whether you act on the craving depends on how much friction is associated with the action. If it's easy, you're more likely to do it. Finally, there is the reward. The reward is the end goal of every habit. It satisfies your craving and teaches your brain which actions are worth remembering for the future. The relief from stress, the burst of flavor from a cookie, the endorphin rush from a workout, these are all rewards. The habit loop is a continuous, self-reinforcing cycle. The reward satisfies the craving, and the brain links the initial cue with that satisfying reward, strengthening the connection and making the habit more likely to occur the next time the cue appears. Understanding this loop is the key to changing your behavior. To build good habits, we can make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. To break bad habits, we can do the exact opposite. Make the cue invisible, the craving unattractive, the response difficult, and the reward unsatisfying. This framework gives us a clear set of rules for creating better habits. But there's a deeper level to habit change that most people miss. Many of us approach change with a focus on outcomes. We set goals like, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to write a book. These are outcome-based goals. The problem with this approach is that it focuses on what you want to achieve. A far more powerful approach is to focus on who you wish to become. This is the idea of identity-based habits. Think of it in 3 layers. The outer layer is changing your outcomes or results. The middle layer is changing your process, your systems and habits. The core, the deepest layer, is changing your identity, beliefs, your self-image, and your worldview. True behavior change is identity change. The goal isn't to read a book, it's to become a reader. The goal isn't to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. When your habits are aligned with your identity, you are no longer pursuing change. You are simply acting in alignment with the type of person you already believe yourself to be. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Every time you choose to write a page, you cast a vote for being a writer. Every time you go to the gym, you cast a vote for being a healthy person. These small wins, these tiny habits, are not just about achieving a result. They are about building a new identity. Your identity emerges out of your habits. You are not born with a set of pre-packaged beliefs. You adopt them and reinforce them through your actions. When you make your bed every morning, you embody the identity of an organized person. When you exercise every day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. The more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. This is why focusing on systems over goals is so critical. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. If you're a coach, your goal might be to win a championship. Your system is how your team practices each day. If you're an entrepreneur, your goal might be to build $1 million business. Your system is your marketing and sales process. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. Think about it. Winners and losers often have the same goals. Every Olympian wants to win a gold medal. Every job applicant wants to get the job. But it's not the goal that separates them. It's the system of continuous small improvements. Achieving a goal is only a momentary change. We often think that once we reach our goal, happiness will follow. But what happens after you achieve it? If you are only driven by the goal of running a marathon, what motivates you to keep training after you've crossed the finish line? Without a system in place, you're likely to revert to your old habits. Goals can also restrict your happiness. We create a mental narrative that says, once I reach my goal, I'll be happy. This puts happiness on hold until the next milestone. A systems-first mentality, however, allows you to find satisfaction in the process. When you fall in love with the process rather than just the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. You can be satisfied anytime your system is running. This brings us to the unreliability of motivation. We often wait for motivation to strike before we take action. But motivation is a fleeting emotion. It comes and goes. You cannot rely on being motivated every single day to stick with your habits. This is why having a system is so much more powerful. A system runs whether you feel motivated or not. Successful people don't wait for inspiration. They stick to their schedule. They don't negotiate with themselves. They don't let their mood dictate their actions. The system does the work for them. The secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. It's a continuous process, not a finite goal. By building a system of atomic habits, you create a foundation for long-term success. It's not about one-time transformations. It's about a commitment to a never-ending process of refinement and improvement. It's about becoming 1% better every single day. So we've established the foundation, the surprising power of tiny atomic habits, the compounding effect they have over time, and the crucial shift from focusing on goals to building identity-based systems. We understand that our habits are not just actions, but votes for the person we are becoming. The question now becomes, how do we put this into practice? How do we design an environment that promotes good habits and discourages bad ones? This is where we will venture next as we dive into the first law of behavior change. Make it obvious.